Good afternoon, friends. This is Sergey Kromchenko from Los Angeles, California, and today we're going to talk about Docker. We're going to discuss number 1, what Docker is, number 2, why do we need to use Docker, and number 3, how do we set up our framework to use Docker. Don't forget to leave a thumb up, like, and a comment right below. Let's go! So what Docker is? If you look at this beautiful laptop that I've spent an entire weekend on painting, you'll find out that we do have a browser and we do have a Finder and a bunch of other apps like iTunes, Apple Store, and so on other Macs or other laptops. And there is another piece of software which is called Docker. And what Docker is? So Docker is just a piece of software that helps you to run whatever software you need to run in isolated environment. This is completely isolated. Whatever you run here, for example, if you run, whatever, that could be automation, test automation. If you run it inside of the Docker, you will have no access to this browser, to this Finder, and nothing else in this laptop. You will only have access to the things that you have in this Docker. So you can think about it as another pretty much operation system, isolated operation system in your laptop. But what is cool about it is it doesn't take so much memory to spin up entire operation system as it does with a Docker. So that's why they're super handy, because they're a small size and you can expand them as much as you need to run isolated pieces of software like automation tests. So number 2, why the hell do we need Docker? So you see, this piece of software is completely isolated of our operation system. And what is cool about it is that we can grab this container and we just can send it to another laptop. And people can run our automation on Linux, on Windows, on Unix, Red Hat, any other operation system in the world can use Docker. And that is cool because we don't have to install, for example, what dependency do we have for automation? We don't have to install, number 1, Node.js. Number 2, what else could we need to be installed? Could have installed Python, and so on and so on. We don't have to have anything installed on this Mac as long as we have it inside of this container right here. So that's the beauty of the Docker. And that helps us to scale significantly because we don't have to spend time on setup, which is a huge thing. But it has one drawback. We cannot run non-headless automation in it. That means we cannot open a browser in a non-headless mode inside of a Docker container. But we don't really care because we do have a headless mode, and that one is actually much faster. So that's how we use it. We simply throw this Docker container into any laptop, into any machine, onto any cloud services like AWS, GCP, Microsoft Azure, anything. We just throw it into it. We simply run a Docker container, boom, game over. You get your automation results wherever you need to get them. That's the beauty of the Docker. And number 3, how do we set up our automation framework to use Docker? Let's do it.
All right, so step number 1. You all must have already installed your automation framework, or if you did not, click on the link above and I will show you how to do so. Otherwise, if you do have it installed, let's get started. So step number 1, let's go to Codemify.com. Codemify.com. WDAO integrations, how to Dockerize WDAO or your automation framework. So step number 1, create Docker file. That's what we have to create. So or simply use this one right here. You need to create Docker file without extension. Basically, let's just do touch Docker file, hit enter, boom. There we go. We have an empty Docker file. So let's copy all of this code right here into the Docker file, save it, awesome. Create a new Docker image by running this command in the terminal. There we go, copy, paste, run it, boom, building. Just to double check, I hope you guys did see the prerequisite for this article. You need to have Docker installed. If you do not have installed, please install it and then run through this article. Okay, it's installing npm. So basically what it does, whenever we run this command, docker build up, it runs this code right here, all the way up to last line, but excluding last line. So it sets up working directory, installs a lot of dependencies, and by the end it runs npm I to update everything that we have in our package.json file, and then it quits. Basically, this code builds an image, and the next one that we're going to run, this one right here, that one will run this code right there, that line, npm test. So command get executed only once when you run Docker container, which usually run by Docker run. Everything else runs by Docker build. Okay, now we're done. So after we created our new Docker image, let's copy this command, Docker images, and let's see if we have that. Holy moly, I have a lot of them. Ignore all of mine, but see, created 30 seconds ago. That's the one that we need. And here's an ID. And first three characters are 660. So run your test inside a Docker container by specifying first three characters of your Docker image. B92 is an example. So we're going to copy this one. I'm going to paste it here, remove last three, and put 660. 660, hit enter, and boom, there we go. It's running, as you can see, and it's running inside of the Docker container that we just created with this file right here. So it's gonna take probably like 30 to 40 seconds to run it. I'm gonna pause the video and show you the result after. All right, so our tests just ran, and as you can see, 2 stacks have passed, 1 has failed, and all of that was inside of the Docker container as we ran it with this command, docker run -it, 660, which is the first three characters of our ID. That's it. Welcome to the club. Now you know how to Dockerize your automation test framework, and also how to run it.
So now you guys all know what the hell Docker is, how to use it, and why do we need it. In the next video, I'm going to probably show you what CI/CD is and how do we combine Docker with CI/CD to make your automation framework scalable. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it and if you would like to learn CI/CD. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.